Hello, everyone. We hope things are going well for you this month. Thanks for coming back and working with us on our fourth pre-session, Creating Engaging Tasks and a Positive Learning Environment. In this video, you'll learn about engaging tasks and positive learning environments. Take a minute to look over our learning objectives and jot down any questions or ideas that you might have. After watching, reading, or listening to the pre-session materials, how would you answer these questions? Take some time to jot down your reflections. We just want to remind you of our overarching focus for this program. We're focusing on the mathematics teaching practices taken from principles to action. Remember, these are practices that you will work on over time. Take baby steps with them. You can do it, but just keep them in mind as you're working on perfecting your teaching strategies and abilities. As we start looking at different ways to engage our students, let's first look at some of the problems we've had with traditional methods and teaching styles. Take a minute to read over this slide and think about some of the things that we as teachers have done in the past. Now let's take a look at active learning. What is active learning? Let's talk about why active learning matters. Active learning can lead to higher achievement. Take a minute to read over this slide. Let's think about this. Students who are actively persevering and problem solving and consistently evaluating their work and getting feedback from others, aren't they much more likely to understand math a little bit better and hold on to that understanding longer? Doesn't that make sense? Active learning promotes engagement, and engagement leads to stronger classrooms with stronger mathematicians. Another benefit of active learning comes later in a student's future. Employers are looking for employees that have productive working skills. How do you think these skills are learned best? In active learning environments, students can also learn important soft skills. We need to help our students develop these soft skills by giving them authentic opportunities to work together and persevere in solving realistic problems and supporting them in becoming students who think and reason. Now that we've seen the benefits of having an active classroom, we need to make sure that we can create a safe environment that will be conducive to this type of learning. One thing you can do is make sure you make a positive connection with your students right away. The beginning of the year is huge for you to get to know your students and also for you to let your students get to know each other. Also, during the beginning of class, every day, you want to communicate the idea that you are really glad to have your students there. I know it's so hard, but try to be less punitive. Those pencil wars, they need to stop. Make sure you model mistakes as being positive. That's the way that they are learning. Show them that real mathematicians make mistakes. You want to also provide opportunities for students to work with a variety of peers. Every day, have them working with different students so that they know that they are the mathematicians in the class and that everybody can contribute. Also, help students understand that they're in charge of their own destinies, that hard work, perseverance, effort really pays off, and that they know they are the ones that are in control of that. It's a good idea to work with your students and establish some short term goals. That just helps the work seem more manageable and gives them small successes along the way. Providing positive feedback. They're always getting feedback, sometimes positive, sometimes a little more constructive, but that positive feedback is really great for students. And make sure other students know of jobs that are well done by by each other. Elicit feedback from students. This one's kind of tough, but it's not a bad idea to get feedback on how well you're doing. That will help you fine tune your lessons and get the information you need to help students where they are and to move them forward. Although it may be tough, remember to keep your responses in your classroom situations calm. Overreacting really makes it hard for students to feel comfortable and safe in their learning environment. So remember to be calm, be fair, be reliable. Last, and this one is huge and hard for us, but nurture your own self efficacy. Remember, you're learning too, you're growing too. You might not have all the answers right now, and that's okay. And it's really good to show your students that you don't have all the answers. That lets them feel like they can contribute as well. We haven't mastered everything yet, but we're working on it.
Many adults and children feel the same way about their math skills, and they grow up to feel negatively about themselves. But by changing their mindsets, they start to unlock their limitless potential.
My name's Jo Bowler. I'm a professor of mathematics education at Stanford University.
As she built her career in math studies, Bowler noticed her students dropping out of the discipline or putting down their math abilities.
There's a lot of people believe in the math brain. Have you got a math brain or haven't you? Unfortunately, a lot of teachers and professors believe in that, and so they look for that in students and communicate to others, you don't have the right kind of brain.
Instead, Bowler teaches that when people change their mindsets and their approach to learning and living, they become unlocked.
And I have found that when people encounter maths as this creative visual subject, where they are invited to see things in different ways and talk about the ways they see it and experience things visually and through building and creating things, it unlocks their minds.
In a fixed mindset, brains are limited. In a growth mindset, the mind is limitless. With this message, Bowler co-founded U-Cubed, a math centre within Stanford for kids and adults. And she spread the word through her books and teachings, changing mindsets everywhere.
When I heard that I could learn anything, it felt amazing.
It felt awesome.
They made it more free.
And so my math coach was really the one who introduced the idea of growth mindset to me and shared the work of Jo Bowler with me. And I stopped projecting that math is scary.
In this video book, we'll learn how to be truly limitless.
I think when you change your thinking to understand that you can know and do anything, it changes all sorts of things, changes the way people go through life, changes their interactions, changes their learning. It's very impactful.
If you haven't heard of Jo Bowler and the U-Cubed website, you'll want to check it out. Here's one example of the many great resources she's created for the website. Motivation is connected to the value that students place on what they are learning and the confidence that they have in themselves that they can learn it. In a 1989 study of 200 elementary students, Hansen determined that there were 4 behavioral tactics that students would employ when encountering a task and weighing that task against their perceived ability to be successful. These are engaging, dissembling, evading, and rejecting. These are the tactics that are used as a means of self-protection, and they are most often used in certain conditions. So pause here and take a minute to look at the table. This is why we want to first help students develop a growth mindset, to help them understand that effort and perseverance, that through these, they can reason through difficult tasks. This helps to keep their confidence high. Next, the tasks we give our students need to be engaging and relevant so that they highly value the tasks and are willing to engage in solving them. Now that we've looked at creating a positive learning environment, what types of tasks should we use in the classroom? Pause the video for a minute and read over this slide. And as you read over it and think about the tasks that you are using in your classrooms. How well do your tasks meet these requirements? Remember this from our January Zoom meeting? I love this resource. For each of the mathematical practices, there's a summary of what the standard means and questions to ask your students to help them develop this practice. This section here really helps us when deciding on task to use. It tells us what needs to be in the task to help develop the practice and explains the teacher's role in facilitating this type of task. Remember, you wouldn't, and most likely you couldn't, include all the task requirements for each practice on every task, but you could focus on one or two with each task or activity that you do. Take some time to look over the rest of these slides for the implementing standards for mathematical practices and pause whenever needed. Okay, you all are ready for your next steps. Just remember to complete the pre-session journal prompts that are on the next slide. Bring your current unit or next unit to our Zoom meetings because we will continue to work on those accelerated learning components in our Zoom meeting. Don't forget, invite a coworker to join. It is so nice to have your coworkers on the same page, thinking about the same things that you're thinking about and working on those same items. So think about, see if you can invite your coworkers to come with you. And last, if you need anything or have any questions, you can check out the website or email myself or Angie with any questions that you might have.